celebrate the relaunch of an Australian motoring icon, the Holden Monaro, the Monaro Club of Victoria, in partnership with the Monaro Clubs of Australia, have gathered in the Victorian rural city of Wangaratta at Airworld to share our pride and passion for this very special car. The event featured special guest speakers, a mega cruise to Winton Raceway, an entrance dinner and 240 of Australia's best Monaros from 1968 to 2002. Very good.
That's great.
Based in the Micro Maintenance Office in Box Hill, the Monaro Special Events Committee commenced planning the event in February 2001. Just over 12 months later, it became a reality. 2 busy days were spent setting up this historic gathering of Monaros.
There's a restaurant right next door if you want something to eat, and right beside it is the pub. That's fine, it doesn't really affect that. But that's fine. What's the shrimps up, mate? What's that, boys? Original engine still in this car?
As entrants arrived at Airworld, they were put through a simple registration process to classify cars into different judging categories. This was a relaxed process with entrants arriving throughout the day from near and far.
And where are you from, mate? Adelaide. It's a manual. Just to the first click. Yeah. It's a bit that way. Okay, do you have your piece of paper and your green tag, please? Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The gathering at Club Albion, located in the heart of Wangaratta, was the first chance for the entrants, special guests and the locals to mix it up, relax and have a chat. Some entrants drove for days to be here, so it was the ideal setting to have a beer and some pizza.
Mate, they're running with it. They're running. I think so. What are you doing? Good. What else is there?
We're not allowed to have anyone under the age of 18 in the club. So with your cooperation, at the completion of the next...
Take the chance to get out.
seen Fly's Eyes?
Like a woman. Oh, Jesus. Take one of them. Don't do that. Put it in the bed. Camera shot. Oh, Sal. Hey, you're... No way!
You just broke your camera.
Solid muscle.
Pretty good. I saw the car in the car park.
Yeah, it's in there. Good stuff, Lava Ketta. There you go, mate. Hello, Mum. Glad to be here. Having a good time. Got some beers. Warren's here. You like his shirt? You like the shirt? No, it's not going the wrong way. Warren's lying down.
Suspicion that I've oversold all the tickets.
It's okay. We just told the cat. We just more tables and more.
On a beautiful sunny day, the fantastic spectacle of 200 Monaros gathered for a cruise through Wangaratta and then onto Winton Raceway. All the models in all the colours of the rainbow were there, celebrating 30 years of Monaro heritage. Australia's biggest Monaro cruise. Can you spot your car? cruise distance to Winton was around 50 kilometres. A stretch on the Hume Highway allowed Monaros to stretch their wings and gave owners a rare opportunity of seeing Monaros from all parts of Australia cruising together.
license, got your credentials.
Yeah.
Is this a Monaro?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Hello. Are you interested in doing a lap of the Winton racing track?
Yes.
Well, if you are, you proceed that direction. If you're not interested, you can proceed down there and park in your car park.
Thank you. You have been very helpful.
No problem. Enjoy your day.
We will. Thank you. Yep.
All Monaro entrants were invited to do a lap of Winton Circuit. If only Norm Beachy could see me now. As you can see, this was not a race to see who'd win pole, but a controlled speed event. So you could say, I did a lap of Winton Racetrack in my Monaro.
How many new bags have they got?
But the pace was a little bit too much for some. Our friends at Holden had arranged for a number of new Monaros to provide hot laps for the entrants and friends. This was to be a highlight of the day for many. All drivers were Holden professionals and were eager to show us what the new Holden Monaro could do. Uh-oh, looks like I'm in for a devil of a time.
You go in the back, please.
Back, could you jump in the back, please?
Like a seatbelt on.
And could I have you in the back, please? Seatbelts on.
Okay, hang on, here we go.
Okay.
You right back there?
You've done this before?
I was working in the hot dog stand 10 minutes ago. You hanging on? How was that?
We get 2 laps or 1?
Are you get a flyer, yeah?
This is the warm-up lap.
Here we go. Back to second. See if we can get the curves, eh? Everyone alright? Good. You alright? Try to be a bit smoother this time. It's not fun being smooth, is it?
No.
Hear the tyre squeal?
Yeah.
That's because the pressures are too low. They should be up around 50 for a track day. They're probably around your normal road setting around the 32 mark. They're a little bit higher inflated. Get rid of that squeal. There we go, nice and deep here. Alright, when we get in the pit lane here, you can undo your belts, undo your helmets, just make it a little bit quicker for the pit stop. Done a few pit stops today already.
That was fantastic, thank you.
Good. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
That was great.
Everybody's like, let's get the yellow car.
Oh no, I was saying, I hope I don't.
Well, you did and you survived.
That's great. Thank you very much.
No problem at all.
Thanks.
The final event of the day was the Holden Dinner with the Legends, a semi-formal night at the Wangaratta YMCA, with designers, drivers and special guests to entertain and enthrall. And a chance to interview Brocky. It was a night not to be missed.
Just checking out the executive meals here. Just seeing what you guys get to eat. I'm going to compare it with mine later.
Steve Ponsa.
And my brother, Sybil.
Stu Ponsa. The Ponsa brothers.
Monaro Club of Victoria are holding this event that we show our appreciation for the effort they're putting over the last 2 years. Remember that there is a shuttle bus to take you back to the drop-off point here, most of what's going on in here. It's kind of turning off. So make sure you're out there nice and early because the cars must be parked.
Good evening all, my name is King Cusack and I am a Monaro-aholic. I have a problem. They finished up taking them to New South Wales to register them so they could put 6 headlights on them. They put the kangaroo bars on the front because they were running at the start of the field and they were scared about the number of kangaroos up in the Flinders Ranges. So here's my original blue car, fitted out with all that gear, Harry's motor, the gearbox, the diff. Jesus, I was skinny, wasn't I? You just drive it on the accelerator around every corner, flat stick. We were going so well. Bugger. Tripped over. It doesn't look too damaged there, but it was, unfortunately. It's up against between the trees even. I managed to put it in between trees. We had to winch it sideways along its side to get it back out of the trees so we could tip it back on its wheels. But it was seriously damaged. Had to put a subframe on it. We did all this in one weekend and we had to paint it. Got it all fixed up, ready to go. Got to the start line of the BP rally in 1973 with 3 minutes to spare. And do you think I was going to let him beat me? No way. Threw caution to the wind, and those photographs are in the correct order. I did finish in front of I beat the Ford. Oh, you're supposed to yell. You know who that is? Beating Fords. Peter Brock couldn't have walked into the worst time. I had to dig deep to find that. I had to dig deep to find that one.
I'd just like to welcome Peter Brock.
Move the door back 150 mil. You've read all of this naturally. You all know all this. 40 mil down the roof and 100 mil off the tail. Gave us the car. All the stuff that we had on the show car as much as possible into the production car. That was the aim. This one's my favourite bit of film. The unveiling of the show car. That's the best bit. That's two Ford executives looking a little bit shocked. So that's where we finished up last time I talked to you, with all the obvious questions about was it going to be called a Monaro, and I wasn't lying then, I honestly didn't know we were going to call it Monaro. This gives you a look at how much of the car was different. Basically the whole rear end of the car is new. We kept the underbody and kept some of the front sheet metal, but basically, and the interior, but basically the 95% of the car was new in appearance. And you can play as well. Just a what if. And that might be a little look at the future too. Haven't actually done that one yet. So we got the old and the new. Significantly different car, obviously, just because of time as much as anything else. Very different surface treatment. I mean, something that was very appropriate at the time, and that fabulous line through the seat pillar there, versus what we've got today. And just while we're looking at old and new, we take you back. I went into the archives and had a look at sort of the two doors that have been done before. This is an HR SS1. I'm sure Leo or Chris can tell you more about these cars. There's another iteration. This is SS2. An early clay. That studio still looks almost like that. 30 years later. You can see the bit of the HR and also the HK coming through in this one. This is what could have been. This is looking at developing into HK. You can see the HK rear end coming through there. Some of the simple full-size tape drawings. Bits to a tribe. Coming through to HQ coupe here. I figured Leo had a hand at this one. And speaking of old and new, I've been trumped because they're on the wall here, but this is the old cat suit out at Lang Lang and the new one. Not taken out at Lang Lang in a studio, but that girl is German, about 18, and apparently drives, was it HT? And she's about 6'6", I think. As for ads, you've got to run the ad. Before we get off that one, just everything you saw there, bar one or two shots, is all digital. That's not a real car you're looking at. Now, one little video here, or a little sequence here that actually puts the whole thing together and shows you the development of the Monaro. This is what we showed the journalists when we released the car. So, sequence we call Passion.
GM Monaro.
Well, actually, John, it's the most exciting sedan car for the sporty type family van that's ever been produced in Australia.
With big, lazy power that drive these wider track wheels wherever you care to go. Lines that get better looking every minute. Imported straight from the future.
Personally, and also on behalf of Holden's, I'd like to thank you for your passion, because I'd say you're about 80% of why this car exists. We designed it, obviously, but it took the draw from the public and the draw from the media to actually make it happen. So, thank you.
My name's Andrew Hinson. I'm Chief Engineer of Special Vehicles Engineering at Holden. That's not to be confused with HSV.
Hi everybody, my name's Laura Thomas, and I was the lucky person who was in charge of the team that had to deliver what Mike's team had designed into a sort of productible vehicle at the end of the day. My job involved leading a lot of arguments, making a lot of business trade-off decisions. My job was all about meeting program cost, quality and timing targets. I had to coordinate the activities between the purchasing departments, manufacturing departments, engineering, Mike's design team and finance. So you can appreciate that there were often quite heated discussions. But I've got to say that I consider myself one of the luckiest people on this planet. I've been fortunate enough to do something like this very early on in my career, and I don't know how I'm going to top it.
My name's Daniel Vricchio, and I was responsible for the design and the development of the glass assembly on the coupe, which is essentially taking the surfaces from design staff and making it all fit against the sheet metal, and more importantly with the drop glass, getting it to go up and down inside the door. Mechanisms, front door check links, hinges, cables, window regulators, essentially all the touchy-feely things which customers sometimes complain about if they're not quite right.
The reaction from the press was just astounding, absolutely astounding. In fact, as Mike said, it was the overall reaction that we got and from the press and from all you people out here that provided the impetus within the organisation to actually decide, yes, we really do have to build this car. And clearly the business as usual way of developing cars was just way too slow and way too expensive, and we really wanted to get this car into production. So we figured the only way to do it was to significantly cut back on the engineering costs. We managed to get the total investment for the vehicle down to $60 million, which is, by world standards, is absolutely tiny, I can tell you. We went from that computer-based models to sending some of the first pilot cars down the line in absolutely world record time. And you can, these are some shots of one of the first cars that went down the line at the assembly plant in Elizabeth, and it was amazing that the first cars came off the end of the line and they were absolutely covered in fingerprints. Everyone in the plant wanted to touch this car. It was just amazing.
I started working at General Motors Styling Department on the 1st of July 1968. And the first thing I wanted to do was see the new Monaro, because it wasn't released by then. So I asked, I want to see a Monaro. And they said, well, hey, we haven't got any around here. We finished with those a couple of years ago. So I got to see photos. That was pretty exciting. But then one day in 1969, we were working overtime on a Saturday, and the photographer came in and said, listen, will one of you guys come and sit in this car outside? I've got to photograph it. And I was there. I said, yeah, I'll sit in it. So I walked out to the outdoor area, and there was this Sebring Orange HT Monaro GTS. And I sat behind the wheel and looked as though I was seriously driving this thing. And a couple of days later, this photo with that handsome lad behind the wheel was in all the newspapers around Australia. It was the press release shot. Eh? It was my good side. Back then, when I joined, I'm just sitting here listening to these guys tonight, listening to Mike and the team, and thinking, I remember when I started there, and there were these old guys working there. And I thought, hey, hell, what are these old guys doing here? I know it all. Us young guys, we're the future. Well, passing of time, and the shoe's on the other foot, and I'm one of the old guys. But it's pretty good. And this was before plastic surgery or airbrush touch-ups. There is a young lad on the right. I'm the one with a little less height, right? We were doing a project to design a car. It was a 6-week project. And I don't know, it was just a training program for designers and modelers. And that was the car we did, but it was a 2-door. The first thing, when I started there, they had just started the HQ program. I didn't care what they were starting, I was just glad to be there, and it was fantastic. But we suddenly had to stop and go back and do the HG. And I think it was because the HQ was going to take a little while longer, and Ford were going to bring out another iteration of their current shape. So we were going to jazz things up a bit with the HG. Now, most of my presentation here tonight is based on the Monaro, because this is the Monaro weekend. We haven't got, some of us aren't going to live long enough to tell you all the stories that happened there, me included. But however, I've got some old pictures here that followed me home from work, and with regards to Monaros, we had to work out what the ornamentation was going to be on it, where the stripes were going to go, where the chrome mouldings or bright mouldings, you know what they are, they're them shiny bits that they don't have these days. And this one here was just a plain Monaro. Some of these things never happen, but these are the stages we used to have to go through. And mind you, may I tell you, none of this stuff that you see up here right now is done on computer. I just had to get that in. Computers weren't invented when we were doing this. And actually, so I suppose I could be referred to as a designer saw. And loving it. But it's good to see. I mean, the excitement that we had during these years, it was just wonderful. It was like having a gold pass to Disneyland and getting paid. And with the result, with the release of this new job here, the excitement's back. So it's great, you know. Here's another one. This is a real exciting job. This is an HG GTS proposal without any stripes. That was an easy drawing to do. This didn't excite anyone, incidentally. Now, you'll notice that these pictures have still got HT tail lamps, and I think it's either because we hadn't gotten round to designing the new tail lamps for the HG, or we hadn't decided we were going to do them. Big decisions back then. However, this was one stripe proposal that didn't happen. This was another one that I still like. So if somebody goes out there and finds their plain GTS painted up like this, I've probably done it. Another one. Some people like this one too. However, we got to the stage where we're designing grills. And we had one that we thought was okay. And I think, as far as I remember, this one was going down the line. This was going to be the HG grill. Until one night after work, another designer named Paul Berenger and I, we drove over to Broadmeadows to suss out the Ford plant because we knew that the XW Falcon was about to come out. And we sort of drove around the perimeter of the plant until we found a few of these new XWs sitting there. And we looked at this thing, and the grill on it has got this big oval shape in it, and we thought, oh, geez, that's what we're doing. And we were sitting discussing this, and there's a screech of brakes, and this car pulls up beside us, pardon me, and out gets this great big bellied security guard. So what do you guys think you're doing? We're just taking a bit of a look, mate. Do you like what you see? Not much. And Paul slammed it into first gear and we got out of there pretty quick. Went into work the next day and said, well, we can't do that grill, that's what Ford's doing. So the grill that became the HG one was pretty close to a mock-up that I did. And so I think it was that close that I can say it was my grill. And there's no one here that can say any different anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, more ornamentation pictures. I was surprised when I was asked to come to this turn. I started looking through all my old stuff, and I found these sketches, and I'd forgotten I'd even done them. But I was glad I got them now. This was a grill I thought looked pretty good, but I was the only one that did, so it didn't happen. And here, we've got a rear view of the same car, still with the HT tail lamps. Now, okay, we're going to sort of get out of the HKTG range now, and we're going to hop right along to HQs. Now, by this time, Leo was here, Leo Bruno, and he said, hey guys, we're going to give Harry Firth a GTS. It's going to be white. And with Leo, everything was either black or white, you know. And square to grid. And we had this, and for some reason, every time we were doing these cars, and maybe it was because I was short or something, I got the job of masking them up to spray the stripes on. So the stripes along the body side and up around the rear spoiler were all masked up and painted, and this car sat there looking pretty sharp. And we were feeling pretty good about this until, see, Chris, those wheels look pretty plain. Yeah, Leah. I think, you know what I think they need? I think they need a red pinstripe on them. So on those wheels, there is a red pinstripe going around about 2.5 mil wide, and then chasing down each of the spokes on that wheel. And that car had 5 wheels, and I took days masking these things out with tapes so that they could be sprayed. They were sprayed on, and on it went, and there is the car you see today, right? That looked pretty sharp. And Leo hands this thing over to Harry Firth, and Harry Firth had his new car. And within 2 weeks, that mongrel had taken those wheels off and put mags on it, you know. But there's a little shot here. This is in direct contrast to what Mike was showing you before, because although this is a posed shot, this is the way it used to be done. And you'll notice down in the front left-hand corner, the handsome gentleman with the blue trousers and the long hair. That's me again. And the flares. Oh, yeah. The car, the brown car on the left-hand side was the start of the WB Statesman. And for the photograph, we stuck some cardboard mock-ups of grills and lamps on it. On the back wall, on the full-size tape drawings, the black one on the left was a proposal for the WA that didn't happen. On the other wall, on the right-hand side, is a yellow GTS coupe, and you might be able to see that the nose of it is forward sloped. That was going to be the WB short wheelbase vehicle that didn't happen. We end up getting the Commodore for that. The red car there, and I mention this because we have a guy here who is, Jody over here, who's whipping around in his ex-John Bagshaw blue baby car, baby blue car. Well, that red coupe there was another one of the styling offerings for John Bagshaw. And I think he had more cars than teeth, didn't he? Brilliant stuff. There are people here that I haven't seen for about 22, 25 years. And the thing that really amazes me is how they look so much older, and I don't. Yeah, it's fantastic. The years I had at GM working on Holdens was just fantastic. And I still can't get away from it because even now I still get caught up in it. Now, I know that Mike would say that beauty is only skin deep, but I've tried to show that it goes a little bit deeper now in the cutaway illustrations that I'm doing for the brochures. So that's my latest contribution to the current Monaro. That, folks, is it in a nutshell. Any questions?
Rocky, now? Not now, not now. Okay, not now.
I think I'd like to start off by saying that There's a couple of cars that I've noticed over the years, which I think are sort of like hallmark designs, and have really defined where Holden come from these days. And I honestly believe that a HQ is an excellent design. I look at the HQ. You see one nowadays lowered with a set of wide rims, and I think it's hard to believe that car's 30 odd years old, 32 years old. It still looks pretty modern. And I reckon this Monaro is another one of those cars. I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be in years to come a really defining moment in Australian automotive manufacture. Probably a couple of, besides the absolutely gorgeous exterior body shape, I think the Gen 3 engine was a very smart idea too. I think that just that engine has really changed the way a lot of people sort of see Holdens these days. It certainly, it's captured my imagination, I can tell you that. In fact, between myself and a few of my mates, we've all got sort of Monaro fever. We're talking about all these ways of getting Monaros to go faster and corner better and bigger brakes, and I mean it's all happening. And I'm sure that sort of enthusiasm is going to catch on around Australia. It's going to become a real cult type of thing. I was standing at a service station in Myrtleford the other day doing the Grand Prix rally. I was there with the Monaro, the 05 Monaro, which is around the traps here somewhere, and there were three guys standing behind us. Was it Myrtleford? It wasn't Myrtleford, it was up in that neck of the woods. Right. Three guys standing behind us, chatting away, and they weren't part of our conversation. And they just sort of said, well, that's it, yeah, we're going down to Wang, and we're all going to buy a Monaro, all getting CV8, all getting 6-speed manuals. And it wasn't as if they were being talked into it or any sales pitch or whatever, just people looking at a car saying, I'm getting one, I've got to get one. And I feel the same way myself. It's pretty crook when you've got to go and buy one, but that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. And I'd like to think that when Mike Simcoe and the guys there decided to do this particular styling project, and it was picked up so enthusiastically by the design team, and the descriptions you've heard about how they took it and they put it in production in record time, etc. Look, I can tell you, different conversations I'd had with Mike and some of the guys in those earlier days, there wasn't a great certainty that car was going to be built. I mean, everyone felt it should have been built. All us car enthusiasts, us people with a great passion for motor cars, we couldn't see how anyone could possibly not build a car like that. But there are certain bean counters and operators like that within large organisations who don't necessarily have the sense of humour that we have. They sort of think, no, unless the bottom line adds up, it ain't going to work. Well, good car companies these days seem to be companies that are able to respond very quickly and to build motor cars which work out pretty well. If they don't, they sort of don't work out in the marketplace. You could talk about some of the Holden opposition out there at the moment. We won't get into that, but you know, they just seem to lack that drive, that enthusiasm, that passion that Holden is currently displaying. And the reason they're displaying it, I believe, is because of the individuals that are involved in the projects. It's always been that way historically. And so you get excited about driving cars, and the cars reflect it. You drive the car down a better road, you think, hey, this thing steers. So, in summary, on that particular point of view, I think that the Monaro is a defining car. I think it's absolutely one of the ones that in years to come people are going to say, remember when Holden made that Monaro? Gee, it changed their fortunes around. They got export markets, they got all sorts of things happening simply because they built a car which wasn't necessarily a bread and butter car, you know, it's not. It's a car that's made for people to love. It's not made for necessarily just getting from A to B, because hell, if that was the case, so you heard before, you'd be building Jeeps and stuff like that, big boxy things, you know, because hell, they're practical, aren't they? But this is a lifestyle. This is something people love to have because you feel good about just sort of driving it. And when you start looking at markets these days, export markets, etc. Look, Mike and the guys here probably don't, they're probably a little bit reluctant to say, but I can tell you, worldwide, when you talk to GM people, General Motors people, Holden's the can-do organisation. They're the ones who actually these days get out there and actually make it all happen. And I reckon it's fantastic to be, even if on a peripheral basis, to be involved in that, because I've always barracked for Australia. I always reckon Australians can do it. You know, Aussies can actually handle these things. They can do it. Give us a bit of a show and we can do it. Well, in this instance, it looks like it's really starting to pay off, and I think that's excellent. Yeah. It was absolutely worthwhile coming up here, I can tell you that. Look, I didn't know what to expect in terms of the audience or the information you're getting, but I was sitting there as mesmerised as a lot of you, I can tell you, because I love seeing all those old drawings of the old prototypes and the sketches about, you know, what people thought would be a good idea and what made it into production and why other bits didn't, you know. I can tell you from my forays into playing around with motor cars, those of you in this room, probably a few of you have seen the HTT Commodores that we built back, the VCs, etc. Well, Leo Peruno down the front here, I still owe you a great vote of thanks there, Leo, for those cars. I tell you, they were beautiful. And the V8 Group 3s and cars like that. A lot of those cars are done because of the enthusiasm that exists within large organisations. And large organisations quite often can be rather faceless, and you may well think, well, they lack you know, drive, and how do you ever get your voice heard in an organisation like that? And sometimes it can be very, very difficult. But you know, individuals who have a dream, and I heard one of the guys before, he said, how do you get a job like that? How do you do it? What happens? Well, you've got to have a dream, haven't you, in life? You've got to say, look, this is what I want to do. This is my passion, it's what I love to do. And pretty soon it starts to work out. It doesn't necessarily work out instantaneously or work out in such a way that it's fully developed in front of you, but bit by bit these things unfold. And pretty soon you find yourself in a position doing something you absolutely love. And I can tell you that's been that way for me driving racing cars. Because as a kid, if I could actually back the Fergie tractor out of the shed for my grandfather or something or other, just an excuse to drive the thing about, you know, 10 metres, I'd do it. I was hardly reached the pedals on my days. I was about 7 or 8 years old, but on the old Chev truck, which is the first vehicle I ever learned to drive, actually, an old Chev truck, I'd drive it. I'd be up there picking up the hay bales in the middle of the paddock, etc., sitting on top of all these cushions and stuff I grabbed out of off the sofa in the lounge room, that sort of. But I just knew when it came to driving a racing car that this is absolutely the thing in life that propelled me more than anything else. And when you actually can make your living out of doing something like that, look, just we were hearing before about you just love doing a job and you don't necessarily want to be paid for it. I felt the same way. And in fact, that dream came true because Harry Firth never paid me. It's great. And I had to prove to myself, you know, I will do it. Can I make an observation here on the Monaro GDS 350 from 1969 to where we are these days with the CV8, for instance. Anyway, the phone rang one day at the speed shop. Ring, ring, ring. Pick up the phone. Diamond Valley Speed Shop. Says I. Your voice the other end says, hello, Harry Firth here. I'd like to speak to Peter Brock. Harry Firth. It's one of my mates putting on a Harry Firth voice, and not even a good one. And I almost did something which could have been a career-altering sort of activity. I didn't. Something said, no, just play it straight. So I said, yes, Peter Brock here. And he said, I wonder if you could like to drive for us, if you're available to drive for us for Bathurst this year. I thought, yeah, I could squeeze it in, I guess. Anyway, the answer was to drive a Monaro GDS 350. And I remember going down there and picking up a car and taking it home, and I couldn't believe the amount of acceleration that thing had, particularly in top gear, 4th gear obviously. I think it had a 336 sprocket in it, and when the second barrels, that big quadrajet opened up, you know, I just heard this roar come out of the bonnet and it set me back in the seat. You think, no car can accelerate this fast. I'm almost blacking out from the acceleration, you know. Anyway, on this limitation thing, just to finish up on that one, it is a changing world we do live in, there's no doubt about it. And I think we are the recipients at the moment of living in a very, very exciting era, very exciting age, where we've got things that we couldn't have believed would exist going back, I don't know, let's go back to the Monaro GDS 350 days and say, okay, drive that car around the block And then I believe a lot of you are at Whitton today driving the new CV8 around, or being driven around there by a few people. You'd have to accept in 30 years, Holden's come a fair way, haven't they? You sit back and go, this is a very interesting sort of measurement of where we were 30 years ago versus our expectations of where we are nowadays. And I'm just very pleased to be involved with Holden and to know that they're building world-class cars that you don't have to make excuses about. You don't have to bother about anyone saying, oh, well, of course, this is only made in Australia. You say, yeah, we make in Australia. And we know that the Yanks wouldn't mind getting a few Monaros over there. We know they wouldn't mind getting a few Utes over there either. We know that they're pretty happy with what they see. And that makes me feel good. I reckon that's pretty good for this country. Thanks very much.
Maybe I can get him now, if I can get past his minder. The Monaro Display Day was the day that the owners presented their cars to the general public for viewing and judging. The day started early, with cars arriving on site from 8 a.m. Cars were parked on the tarmac at Wangaratta Airport under clear blue skies. A feast for the eyes, with beautifully presented vehicles in original, street modified, custom and competition classes representing 34 years of Monaro motoring history.
To do the whole front,
Attention to detail was of a high standard, with many cars making their public showing debut. Many Monaro owners make the bi-annual Monaro event a target for completion of their classic car.
Count of the original stuff, because what it's painted with, time. Well, I painted matched the colour for mine, I reckon. In total,
Two years since the last one, walk and talk. Hi guys, I've missed you all. And look at the sun's shining, different location, we're not on the grass. And look what I've just happened to find here, a brand new V2 yellow, like the poster. This is the car that was used on the dinner on Saturday night. The legends and the owner is right in front of us, Victor. from New South Wales, or I do believe it's Big Bird.
Big Bird, yeah, from New South Wales.
So how'd you get Big Bird?
Just the height I am, just an old nickname from high school.
It's just stuck.
Yeah, it's just
won't
stuck
leave it
there,
away.
Yeah, it won't go away.
So tell me about your new baby toy, your Big Bird nest.
Oh, my Big Bird nest.
So you've had Monaros before?
No, this is my first one. I'm enjoying every minute of it, and I love it, mate.
Why'd you wait so long to get this one?
I wasn't too keen on the old ones, but once these ones came out, yeah, I just had to get one. Yeah, it's awesome.
How long have you had it?
2 months now. Got it in January.
And ordering, did you have to pay for it early up to get it in January, or was it just a normal delivery time?
Normal delivery. I just rocked in on the beginning of December and picked it up on the 1st of January. Yeah, it only took me a month, but they told me I'd be lucky to get it before, within March, 3 months time, yeah, so.
And the drive down from New South was just...
Oh, awesome, unbelievable. Too easy.
Turning too many heads?
Yeah, all the time.
It's good to see.
Sitting on 6 speed, 1,500 revs.
Awesome. I'll cut it there. Thanks, Vic.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Bridge all collapsed. Just because of that, it probably makes it pretty good. But yeah, it's like, let's just look at the red.
Kerry, where's Kerry? I haven't seen Kerry. Sorry, mate, you haven't seen Kerry. Kerry!
How are you?
How are you, mate?
How are you,
good
John?
to see you. Oh, very good indeed. Now, Tasmanian Monaro Club. I think the show's a bit responsible for this happening, isn't it?
I'd say that, yes.
Yes. Tell us how you
well, back in '98, it was just 2 of us. I actually saw the flyers about the club in the Sun Herald, and I got onto you guys about getting some posters, and I put them up around my hometown and around Tassie, and I got another chap who came interested, and the 2 of us got together and came over here to that.
So the war stories of the '98 event just helped the club grow?
Once we got back home, we set about to look at putting together a Monaro Club for Tasmania.
So how many members, active members have we got now?
Well, it depends on what you class an active member. At the moment I've got 45 financial members on the books, which is not too bad for a 3-year period. So
that's going very well.
They float in and out. Some of them I haven't even met yet. So
fantastic.
They're happy to get their newsletter and that sort of stuff, and keep paying their money, so that's good.
And Tasmania, logistically, I suppose it'll be hard travel-wise to get here. How long has it actually taken you to leave Tassie and to get to this event?
Well, for me to go to the boat's only 15 minutes, but then it's a 14-hour trip on the boat, and then 3 hours, 3.5 hours up to here.
And how many cars come across this time?
5.
5 cars. So you all travel together with one group on the boat?
Yeah, I didn't know that the famous HQ Coupe was going to be here until I got on the boat. So
I wish people would stop referring to my car as a famous HQ Coupe. It's just embarrassing, really. And listen, tell me about your car, please. Well,
I've had the car. I bought the car in 1974 with 22,000 kilometres on it. It's now done up to today. It's done 410,000. Well, actually 411,000, I think. Kilometres.
It's been trouble-free motoring.
Yeah, within reason,
You've always had Monaros?
No, not to the. This is the first and only Monaro so far. Yeah.
So is there plans for the bigger garage to get another KT or G, or maybe
well, it
one of
would
the
be
new V2s?
nice, but I think it's only a pipe dream at the moment. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time. Good luck with the show.
No worries, John.
And
Good
thanks
on
for
you.
bringing the crew over. It's helped make the
Thanks
show
for
what it
the
is.
Victorian Club for putting it on. Yeah.
Pleasure.
Right, someone's videoing it.
You go faster.
Walking just down the road, and yes, I've bumped into him again, folks. Ken Cusack.
Go.
How are you?
Good,
Good to see you. I better shake your hand now. I'm not going
Thanks,
to hold it
mate.
right there. Now, the people that don't know, you are a club member.
Yes, I was there at meeting number 1 back in 1973. I was founding club member and been going ever since.
So we can sort of say this is all your fault.
Yeah, part of it's my fault. Yeah, not all of it.
If it wasn't for you starting it, we wouldn't be here today.
My fine car here I've owned for 32 years and been rallying it for 30.
This is a 30-year-old car.
I've been rallying it for 30 years.
It's better than my daily driver, mate. Look, there's hardly a knock in it. What's it like to drive around?
No answer to that question. It's good to drive around. Its purpose is, of course, on dirt. It's not a street car, it's not a road car, it's designed to be driven on dirt roads, and it does that very well. Just wish the brakes were a little better, that's all.
Have you got a Monaro road car?
No.
Have you had one any times with 30
Yes,
years?
yes.
You've played with?
No, I had to get something, I had to go to a Statesman because the kids are too big, they won't fit in the Monaro. But they only ever owned Holdens.
Terrific.
Only ever Holden.
That's patronage. As I've always said, Holden-based cars, I'll support the flag as well.
Exactly.
Magnificent. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure. Roll
Again, we'll
on.
see you at the next
Monaros
one.
are the best.
They are. More wandering around, and yes, I've bumped into yet another legend, Chris Emerson. How are you?
Good, thanks, John.
Did you
Yourself?
enjoy last night?
Did I enjoy it? It was fantastic. Yeah, I had a great time. Yeah,
It went pretty well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I don't think I missed out on any food while I'm talking, but no, it was a good night. Interesting. I thought it was very well run, and I thought it was it was just neat. It's the whole weekend's been great actually.
Yeah.
And seeing all the Monaros and And it's not only just the cars, it's the people.
Yeah.
Because it's the people are so excited and enthusiastic about it. You think,
just amazing.
hang on, these guys are just about as excited about them as we were when we designed them.
Now, when you were designing them,
yeah,
would you have thought that would have been like this today, out and about?
No, not really. We never thought we were creating a legend at the time.
No.
We were designing with a passion.
Was there any pressure in those days, like the deadlines or bits and pieces? It was just all been fun.
Oh no, well there were deadlines, but I mean because it was such fun.
Yeah.
I mean sometimes we had to work all night to get things done on time.
Because you're having that passion.
Yeah, I mean, gee, I would have worked for nothing. That it was that good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, don't tell them how.
No. Gee, I think it's past the statute of limitations now.
Indeed.
No, it's fantastic.
And today, what do you think of today? Like the sun's shining, you've had to walk up and down to the cars on display, have you?
Yes. There's a few I want to take home.
Yeah.
And
what would your choice be out of the cars you've drawn and you think, garage, here we come?
Well, I reckon an HQ coupe.
Yeah?
Would have to be. Yeah. Well, that was the first vehicle I worked on when I started at GM.
Yep.
And because it was then we sort of stopped work on that for a bit and went back and did the HG.
Yep.
And which I had a fair bit to do on the grill of that, which I'm happy with. But the HQ was the first complete car program I worked on.
Have you got one? Have you got a Monaro of such like, or
no?
Has this helped fuel the passion to get one, or what?
Well, yeah, it would be lovely to. It'd be lovely to be part of something like this. But hey, if I'm sort of
what happens.
I enjoyed standing up there last night and telling people about it.
No, that's fantastic.
And yeah, the interest, the people, the excitement that occurred when we were doing this stuff was fantastic.
Yeah.
There were all these enthusiastic guys working there, and it was so much fun. And then I think they lost it. It went all quiet and dead. And I think finally, all of a sudden, they brought out the new Monaro, and they're showing signs of excitement there again.
It's
so
reignited the fire.
Yeah. Because see, when I started at GM, I was only a young tacker, and I'd see all these old guys there and thinking, I wish they'd get out of the way and let us young guys do it. And now last night, listened to Mike Simcoe and the team, and I think, hey, they're kids. Yes. And all of a sudden you think, hang on, I'm one of the old guys now.
It was funny for the last event, we had Mike Simcoe up and he said, you're one of our legends because you've created the new V2.
Yeah.
And it was sort of, I'm not a legend, I'm just built the cards. It's hard to get in that file, I suppose. Yeah. Now it's out.
Yeah.
It's just, we said, no, you are a legend, mate, don't you worry.
Yeah.
It's
well,
great.
That's it. When we're designing them, we're designing that far ahead. So by the time the car comes out on the road, we'd finished with it for ages. And people say, oh, I love the new model, Holden. And you think, which one is it? Because we're sort of on the next couple ahead,
Oh, you've seen that one.
Yeah. You had to watch out what you said,
Terrific. Chris, thanks for your time.
A pleasure.
Thanks for coming out and making the show as to what it is. An absolute true legend. Best stylist there is.
Thanks for asking me up. I've had a ball.
Pleasure.
Look forward to dealing with you in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? Absolutely. Thanks. See ya. Bye.
Yes. wandering around, and yes, I've bumped into him again, Mr. Brian McClellan. How are you?
G'day, John. Pleased to see you.
Since the last event, has there been much publicity on KCX?
Well, KCX has been up as far as Brisbane, I believe.
You believe?
I believe, yes, because I didn't travel with the car.
The car's gone on holidays without you?
Yes, the car left without me.
What was that used for?
Holden, yeah.
What was that used for?
As part of the new Monaro release publicity.
Yeah.
And I understand that all went well up there and it was well received with the new car.
Fantastic. Good. And how long did they have it for? How long did GMH hold for?
Totally, I guess I lost count. About 4 weeks altogether, yeah. So it was great.
So what does that do, do to yourself, like having a car you've restored and then all of a sudden the builder comes up and says, hey mate, I need your car?
It's a great sense of satisfaction to have, felt that we've had a car that was of a standard, that was good enough to be shared around and others to appreciate.
Absolutely. What's next? Is there a next, or is we're going to play with this one for a while?
Well, currently what we'll do is the car lives currently in the Echuca Car Museum, the National Holden Museum in Echuca.
Yep.
And they look after it until we're ready to use it every day on the road.
Okay. So have you put many miles on the road since the last event?
So far about 700 or 800 miles only in 2 years.
That's not a real bad effort, really.
No,
still looking as fresh as a daisy.
Yes, well, we've really thoroughly enjoyed every time we take the car out. It's great to drive.
Absolutely. That's a credit. It's an absolute credit to yourself. The car's in magnificent form. And we've got a bronze car, and it probably, look, I'm no judge or anything, but the finish on this is just magnificent. I'm going to hate to be a judge to separate the different classes of different cars, because it just gets tougher each event we have it. John Brennan, this is?
Randy Gurdon.
Randy Gurdon, and you're from?
From Albury.
From Albury, so you're a Monaro Club Victoria member?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Beautiful. Tell me about your car, Randy, please.
Well, this is actually something of its unveiling. We've never showed the car before.
Yep.
It's taken us 5 years to build the car to this point.
And what sort of condition was it when you first got it 5 years ago?
No, I've owned it probably 16 years.
Oh yeah.
And went through the street machine phase during the early to mid 90s, and then the decision was made to restore it based on the fact that it's an 818 37. So.
Yes. And what was done? Was a complete rebuilt from the stem down, stripped back completely?
Yes, it was stripped completely, and lots of major bodywork required for a vehicle of its age. The usual rust spots had to be taken out. There was no trim in the car that was original. There was no mechanicals that were original.
So was that hard chasing that trim up?
As much as everything else.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
With your rebuilding program, knowing this was coming up now, was this a target for you to meet so the car would be finished for this?
It did become as such, yeah. We've attended the last 2 events and been able to keep an eye on the standard of vehicles, and we're very pleased to see the standard reach what Brian's done here, because that's the sort of thing that we'd envisaged you would need in order to bring it along to an event of this size.
Yep.
And we feel that we've come close, and we're very proud to be able to stand here beside Brian and his car as well.
Absolutely beautiful. Randy, thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot, John.
Brian,
John,
thanks for your time. Good luck to you both, gentlemen.
Yeah, good on you, Randy. Yeah,
unfortunately, there can only be one winner. You'd like to be able to say, yeah, we're all winners, but I think we are winners because we've all got Monaros, haven't we?
Yeah. Yes, we have.
That's right.
In the main hangar, Holden had on display a collection of its finest. The 1998 Concept Coupe, Peter Brock's Target Tasmania 2002 Competition Monaro, and the stunning Mambo Concept Sandman panel van, complete with mural and a beautiful custom paint job. Now's my chance with Broggy. He's just over there.
Pete, whenever you're ready.
What can I say? Is he like
Okay, mate. Thanks, mate.
Oh well, maybe next time. Still, heaps of things here to look at with Monaro HSV merchandise and sale. Monaro restoration bits and pieces. T-shirts as far as you can see. Wandering around, the amount of people that you meet is just incredible. And yes, I've bumped into the Western Australian president, Perry. Perry, how are you? Welcome to Melbourne.
How are you, mate?
As the show was developed and sent information, what sort of reaction did you get from Western Australian club members and such like?
Unfortunately, we had a bit of a problem getting a few of the cars over here. We had a bit of a team that were going to come over here, but a few last-minute problems. And the whole thing got canned. So unfortunately, we don't actually have any cars here this year. We've had a few in the previous events, but none this year.
So that's a little bit upsetting, you think, or how's
well,
that
given the circumstances, you know, it is a fair way to come. But
it is. It's a long way. And it's a great.
With the next event, we'll be here in force.
It is a great thank you for the people that do come from Western Australia to the event, because I know the geography involved. It's just amazing. Now, something I need to speak to you very importantly about your hat.
Yes.
www.monaro.com.au. What's this all about, please?
Okay, basically we're getting all of the clubs together. It's going to be a focus point on the internet for all the clubs for their promotion. We're still in the doing all the details for it, but basically you'll be able to go to the site, find out as much information as you can handle in regards to Monaros and also the clubs.
That's like restoration tips and advice,
sure,
as well as the new cars and just general runs as well for the clubs organising.
Well, all the clubs are going to have their own separate sections to the site, so they'll be updated all the time.
Click on your state, bang, your relevant information.
All the relevant information. If you're a member of, let's say, the Victorian Club, you may have a password to a secure section that you can get the latest updates rather than wait a month in advance for the newsletters.
And how long has this been in the making? Years?
Well, we've been talking about it for a long time. It's only really been sort of finalised now, but we have been talking about it pretty much with the clubs for about the last 6 months.
Beautiful. Okay, well, good luck and congratulations. It's good to see we're hitting the net. Thanks for your time, Perry.
Thank you.
Enjoy the show, and thanks for being here.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Oh God, I've got to look my best now. I'm going to do the interview with the Queensland press. She's an absolute babe. Where is she? Here she is. And here she is, Rebecca.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank
Looking
you.
fine.
Thanks.
So tell me, Queensland Monaro Club. Hello. Queensland Monaro Club. How's it going?
It's doing really good.
How many members have we got?
Lots. That's 250 on the books, I think.
50. There's that many Monaros up there?
No, I've got a lot of affiliates as well.
As well?
Mhm.
So how many affiliates as in Monaros in other clubs?
No, like just people with premiers and Kingswoods and dreaming people.
Okay. So you have a Monaro yourself?
Yes, I do.
Which is a?
HK GDS Monaro 186S.
And that's a project, or is it your drivable? What's the story?
Yeah, it's a daily driver. It does a daily run to and from work, 45 minutes through peak hour every day, there and back.
Fantastic. And how long have you had it?
Had it for, what month is it? March?
Oh, yes, it's March.
14 months.
14 months. So
15
that's
months.
you're fairly new to the game of Monaros, or you had
Yeah.
Monaros before?
No, I came across from somewhere else. I used to own a...
GT. Okay, fine.
He swore in a Monaro video,
Sorry.
it wasn't me
No,
this
no,
time.
I was only kidding, folks. You know me, I'm only kidding, so it's okay. So I'll wash my mouth out later. So it's good in condition, your car. Does it need a
It needs
project?
a full restoration.
So that's in mind to do that?
No, it's in mind to be sold and get a V8.
One of the new CV8s, or?
No.
No?
A classic, like the classics.
Again, in this body shape, or will you change shapes?
Nope, it has to be a HK, T or G for me.
And how have you been enjoying the event so far?
I've had a ball. I've never done anything like this before
Yeah.
to this magnitude, but first time, which is not all Monaros though.
Yep.
So I'm having a ball.
Yep, and how long are you down for?
Well, we've been down since Thursday and we're going back tomorrow.
Okay. Driving?
Driving 3 days down, 2 days up.
Gee, it's a long effort. I can't believe it. As I keep saying, I just can't believe the effort that people make to get down here for the show.
You don't get to do this every day.
Well, no, you don't. It's only every 2 years, and it's special.
It's fun.
Terrific.
I've learned a lot, so
Okay.
have fun.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
We
And,
enjoyed being down here.
Great. Okay.
We'll be here next time.
Fantastic. And bring your car.
Yes, next time the car will be here, trust me.
Promise. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I don't want to be president anymore. It sucks.
If they don't have it, you're going to have buckwheat here. Because they've got six.
Another Monaro legend from the last event that's here again. Thanks for coming, Mike Simcoe.
You're welcome.
Looking at it today, what's going through the mind?
To me, this one's more impressive because the new car's here. I mean, last time was impressive because I knew it was coming, and there was so much enthusiasm and passion in the people who were here with their older cars. But this one's much better for me personally because the new car is there and everyone's excited about it.
Was that hard at the dinner last event, and we said, "Oh, name it the Monaro," and Leo got up and he said, "Go down to engineering and put a badge." Did that put much pressure on you to name the car the Monaro, or?
No. In the end, naming the car came down to a marketing decision. I mean, as it always does. Pressure? No. The car was going to happen no matter what happened, and people had named it Monaro. So even if we'd stuck it out in the marketplace without the badge on it, I'm sure someone would have made some aftermarket badges and stuck them on the car. So
Absolutely.
You named it.
So you having designed it, you having with it being named that?
I am now. I wasn't originally.
Yeah.
As is in writing, in many places.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I hate that when it comes back to say.
No, it's fine. I mean, it works with the car, and you see it out in the tarmac. It works.
It does. It does. It's created I suppose, a whole new wave, I suppose, of Monaros to come through, and it's
Yeah. Well, if we hadn't named it, then we would probably have disenfranchised all the people who really hold the myth and hold the legend better than we do.
Sure.
Which is you guys.
Okay. Well, have you had a chance to walk and see the cars on display?
I've seen some. I saw more yesterday out of Winton because I've been stuck signing autographs, which is a new experience for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any catch your eye?
Nothing specific. The brighter colours are probably the most obvious ones. I mean, I don't have any favourites.
No?
No, I haven't seen enough of the cars. I've got to try and get out there.
Fair enough. Okay, I suppose with your commitments for yourself.
Well, I've been
and
sitting
Peter,
down. Peter and I have been sort of challenging each other to see who can write the fastest, write the most. And he keeps on doing this. My 15 minutes of fame will sort of settle down soon.
Well, I hope it keeps on going for a long, long time. Okay. Mike Simcoe, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And the next event, I suppose, we will definitely see you up here.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Rouse. That time again where entrants and visitors get to see and hear Monaros in action.
Well, ABS is beautiful, isn't it? Yeah! 5.5.
As the bank offer says.
Personalisation was something I touched on last event, and this is a bit of a personal touch as well, or more than the state it came from. This car has actually come down from the Northern Territory, and the owner of the vehicle is
PJ.
PJ, how are you, John?
Good.
Pleased to meet you.
Thanks very much.
So, it's a long way from Northern Territory. How long does it take to drive this car from Northern Territory to get to drive your old event?
Within the speed limit?
Yep.
4 days.
4 days. Yeah. So you would have left Tuesday, Monday to get here by?
Monday morning, I think it was, but that's about 6.
Yeah. And that put you in town on Friday or Saturday?
Put down here on Friday night, 9 o'clock.
Yes, I can't believe the amount of miles people travel to get here. Monaro Club in Northern Territory, is it a big deal? How many members have you got?
It's just started to grow now.
Yep, so how many members would you have?
I think at this stage, I'm it.
You're it?
It's starting to grow now. I got the phone calls on the way down.
Yeah? Has it been in existence long?
No, it hasn't been in existence at all.
At all?
No.
So the event, I suppose, has helped create another club?
Yes, it will.
Fantastic.
without a doubt.
And are there many Monaros in Northern Territory?
Actually, there's quite a few. In Darwin itself, where I live, there's probably around about 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Then you got the Alice Springs and so forth.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's a fair bit of numbers. So the next show we can possibly hope for maybe a convoy of Northern Territory Monaros coming down.
We can only hope so.
Fantastic. And tell us about your car, please.
Well, I've only had it 12 months. It's a genuine 11th month 78, registered 79, 308. It's got all the options of a SLE Statesman. And I don't think I've done to the car is actually put on gas, which makes it a lot cheaper, especially when petrol in Darwin's 98 cents a litre.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Is this your first Monaro you've owned?
This is my first Monaro, yes.
Okay, but it's not your last.
No, not by a long shot.
You've always had the passion of the Monaros?
Since I was 18, which is 20 years now.
Okay, so it took me 20 years to get my car too. And how does this affect, like seeing all these cars on display now, with the amount of miles coming from? What does that say to you?
I think it's good because was here actually in 98 and it was excellent, and by far this is a lot better than that one.
Really? Yeah, I think we've honed it down a bit to be a lot more smoother. Fantastic. Look, thanks PJ.
Thank you very
fantastic. Thanks for coming down. Thanks for your time and good luck.
I hope so. As long as we get back on one piece, I'll be happy.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Johnson. Without further ado, I'd like to start with the sponsors' trophies, and I'd get Peter Brock from Holden to present their trophy to Frank Manley. Best represented club will be the Sydney Club this year. The Hard Luck Award has to go to some fella that's apparently got a really modified HG rear end on his car. Concourse, which was open to cars of a high standard, and we've named it after Dennis Stainer, who unfortunately passed away not very long ago, for all the work that he contributed to restoring Monaros over many, many years. And first prize, Shane Plan.
The next award is an encouragement award. I don't have to explain what that means, and I don't have to tell you his name. Derwin, come down.
The end of the event saw awards presented to many deserving entrants and helpers. But I've got some unfinished business to attend to. There he is! Got him! Got him! I got Brookie! I got him! Peter Brock, on behalf of the Monaro Special Events Committee, thank you very much for coming out and making this show what it was today.
Thank you very much. A lovely day here today in Wang. Sunny, fairly warm, but more than anything else, I think there's some hot cars here.
Do you enjoy it? What
well,
do you
I was inside a lot of the day there doing some signing, but outside I hear these cars. It seemed like they had about 7,000 horsepower. They hear these. They pick up the odd 308 out there, and I reckon most of them seem to be 350s and 327s and what have you. Blokes just deciding to give Bridgestone a bit of business, which is handy. They always like to have a bit of burnouts and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Some of the guys have spent big dollars in their cars. Did that
Beautiful
surprise you
cars.
seeing what they've actually some done with it?
Well, I've done enough things like summer nats and what have you to see what the guys do.
Sure.
I mean, they're beautiful. I mean, there was a couple of cars here. Sit back and look at it and think, well, that is a piece of art. And I think it'd be fair to say that people like Mike Simcoe, they look at some of these cars and I think, yeah,
absolutely.
This is where Monaro's sort of going to be sort of seen in maybe another 20 years or something like that.
Fabulous. All right, I better let you go. You've had a huge day.
Big day, yeah, big day. Hit the tar, get the SS back down the highway. I'm sort of hanging out for a Monaro myself at the moment. I think we all are. Yeah. All of us are saying, gee, I wouldn't mind a Monaro, but it'll probably be a CV6. Because I'll probably say, oh yeah, we've got a few 6s around Brocky, you can drive one of those. No, thank you.
I know you said last night, if you got a choice, you'd prefer if they had the endless amount of money, pick your car, what would it be?
Yeah, I'd go for a CV8. I was just talking to Mike Simcoe about colours and stuff like that. I was just trying to make up my mind what colour to get, but I don't need 4 doors. I've got a 4-door here. I don't need it. I don't use the back door. I use it to throw the stuff in the back, and that's it. As far as I'm concerned, I can just flick the boot open, put a little carry net in there, briefcase, junk goes in the boot. That'll do me.
Fantastic.
And also, I like the way they steer.
Yep.
They steer good. They steer a lot different from this car here. This car, every time I hop in this car now, I go, it's just sort of like a bit of a compromise, you know.
Yeah, sure. If we have it again in a couple of years, you up for it again?
I'm very happy to help out the Monaro Club, and I think that, obviously Holden Cedar is a very important part of life. The name Monaro is an icon in Australian motoring, and I think I mentioned last night that I reckon that the new Monaro will go down in history as one of the most important cars that Holden have ever made. And we'll wait and see how history judges it, but I think that it'll be seen that way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Peter Brock, thank you for your time.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks for the weekend.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, got here Wednesday. Brock was coming, he came, he was here. He spoke Saturday night. Been badgering him ever since. Finally got the interview. How good was that? Fantastic. Listen, thanks for coming. I'm tired. I just want to go home and sleep. What do you think, Shelb?
Game over.